This is Chris Videos. Like, subscribe to Team W Wrestling on YouTube, subscribe to my other channel, World of Chris, and subscribe to this channel, Chris Videos, and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and both of my TikToks. They'll all be down there in the description box. And I'm here to do my AEW Dynamite October 18th, 2022 reviews. So here we go, discussing about Dynamite. Now, Dynamite is originally on Wednesdays, but obviously it has moved just for tonight. I think next week it's going to be back on Wednesdays and all that. So yeah, but they got 4 title matches tonight. The world title will be defended and so many other titles, but we kick off for the first match. It was the AEW Trios Tag Team Champions, Pac, Penta Oscuro, and Rey Fenix, Death Triangle, versus Trent Beretta and Chuck Taylor, best friends, and the AEW All-Atlantic Champion, Orange Cassidy, in the 6-man tag team match for the AEW Trios Tag Team Championships. So yeah, by the way, Orange Cassidy, love his entrance. Right when he came down with a freaking book bag, and then that's what the title was in. So yeah, just I could see him doing it, and it just fits with his character. So yeah, it was just really great. But yeah, we had this match. It was a really good match between all 6 of these guys. At one point, we seen Pac tag himself in, and then he grabs that hammer to try to hit Orange Cassidy with it. But Rey Fenix grabbed the hammer because, you know, he's going to get disqualified. But even if they got disqualified, it wouldn't have mattered because they would have kept the tag team titles that way. But Rey Fenix still takes away the hammer. But then Orange Cassidy comes up and Pac hits him with that German suplex. But Orange Cassidy pops right back up to his feet and hits an orange punch onto him, which was really nice. But both of them was down. And then it was going back and forth. Like either team was going to win. At one point we seen Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta hit Strong Zero onto Penta at one point, I think, and almost got the 3 count, but the pin got broken up at 2. And then we see at the ending, we see Rey Fenix get tagged in. He goes up against Trent Beretta, comes back from the ropes with a spinning roundhouse kick to the face onto Trent Beretta, lifts him up onto his shoulders, pretty much knees him upside the head, and pretty much like a sit-out power driver type move. Not like an actual power driver, but when he has him turn around like Rikishi's old finisher move, I forgot what you call it. But yeah, he hit that move onto Trent Beretta and then pinned him for the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, Rey Fenix, Pac, and Penta Death Triangle defeated Trent Beretta, Chuck Taylor, and Orange Cassidy, best friends, tonight in the tag team match. So yeah, Death Triangle retains the AEW Trios Tag Team Championship. So yeah, that's what happened. Really good match to kick off Dynamite. For that match, I'll give it 4 stars. That's why I'll give it. It was a really good match. Later on tonight, we will see the AEW World Heavyweight Champion, Jon Moxley, versus Hangman Adam Page later on tonight for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. So yeah, many more matches still to come. I think 3 more title matches tonight. So yeah. But yeah, I'll see you guys later until the next thing that happens on AEW Dynamite. See you guys later until then. So, the next thing that happened on AEW Dynamite. Now, before I talk about the women's match, we gotta talk about one segment backstage, and then we see Tony Schiavone. He's interviewing Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter, and Rebel with all 3 backstage, and they was talking about how they were going to watch Toni Storm's match tonight, and one of them should have became the interim AEW Women's Champion, but Toni Storm cheated him out, and that's what happened. So yeah, they said they was going to watch the match. So yeah, we get the AEW Interim Women's Champion, Toni Storm versus Hikaru Shida, 1-on-1 for the AEW Interim Women's Championship. And this match, it was a pretty good match. It was back and forth. At one point, Hikaru Shida was about to hit the katana onto Toni Storm, but Toni Storm reverses that. And then at one point, she has that nice German suplex with the bridge and stuff, and Hikaru barely kicking out at 2. But then she grabs her, hits the tornado DDT off the ropes onto her, and then picks her up, hitting Storm Zero onto Hikaru Shida, and then pins her for the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, Toni Storm defeated Hikaru Shida tonight and has retained the interim AEW Women's Championship. So yeah, that's what happened. Really good match. I'll give that match 3 stars as well. I'll give it a really good match between those 2. But then, after the match ended, Rebel and Jamie Hayter comes out there attacking Toni Storm from behind, beating her down and Hikaru Shida and stuff, and then Britt Baker comes walking down, and she was about to get into the ring until Saraya came down there, and her and Saraya was brawling, and Saraya throws Britt Baker over the barricade, chasing her through the crowd and stuff, and then Jamie Hayter and Rebel still beating down Toni Storm and stuff until Riho makes her return, coming running down, taking out Rebel, and then throwing Jamie Hayter out the ring, and then jumps off the top of the turnbuckle with the crossbody onto Jamie Hayter outside the ring. So yeah, taking her out. But yeah, that's what happened. Riho returns, and Toni Storm retains the title. So yeah, like I said, really good match and all that stuff. Really great stuff. But then after that, we see FTR get interviewed backstage by Renee Paquette, and FTR was talking about how, you know, Kingdom has came to AEW, and they know that they're going to be coming after their tag team titles and all that. But FTR needs to go after the AEW World Tag Team Championships. That's what he was saying. But then they get interrupted by Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee. And they was like, no, we should be the rightful #1 contenders. FTR was like, how about this? Next week, us versus y'all in a #1 contenders match. And then Keith Lee was like, okay, we accept. So yeah, next week, Swerve and Our Glory versus FTR in a #1 contenders match. But yeah, pretty good stuff. So yeah, I'll see you guys later until the next thing that happens on AEW Dynamite. See you guys later until then. So the next thing that happened on AEW Dynamite, now before I talk about the segment with William Regal and MJF, we got to talk about another segment backstage, and we see Jay Lethal and Sanjay Dutt get an interview backstage, and pretty much it was like by the garage, and Darby Allin comes up, and all of them's talking and stuff about a match, but then all of a sudden Jay Lethal and Sanjay Dutt attacks Darby Allin, beating him down, throwing him into the garage door, slamming the garage door on his chest and stuff, and while he's trapped in between, you know, underneath the garage door, that's when Jay Lethal locks on the figure 4 leg lock onto Darby Allin, hurting him. So yeah, that's what happened there. Pretty good segment though. But then we get to a segment in the ring. It was MJF and William Regal. Now, William Regal was getting interviewed inside the ring by Tony Schiavone, but then he gets interrupted by MJF. MJF comes out and cuts a damn good promo. I will say this segment alone, one of the best segments on Dynamite in months. Swear to God, it's been like that. It's like that. Really, really, really great segment. William Regal, MJF comes out and he's talking to William Regal, talking about how you know, he had a dream one day, and that was to make it to WWE. But then one day, he was training with Brian Myers and Pat Buck, and he goes, they said they got him a gig in WWE to pretty much be like an extra, but he said that was all he wanted pretty much, to go be an extra, get his name out there. And then he goes there, and then he's showing what he can do and all that stuff, and he cuts a really good promo. And William Regal was like, "Oh, I think you're pretty good at all that." And he's asked MJF how old he was, and MJF said he was 19. And then William Regal was like, "Oh wait, you're way too young. Then you still gotta go out there and learn a lot more." So yeah, that's what William Regal said, and MJF said, "Well, what is there for me to do to get better?" William Regal shoots him an email and says, "How about this? Just send me like a promo and some matches once a month and all that stuff." And that's what MJF did to show William Regal, and William Regal shoot him a text back, and MJF didn't pretty much like it. And he says that pretty much that's when he wanted to quit wrestling and kill himself and all that stuff. So yeah, that's what he was saying. And then William Regal looks at him and he goes like, "Well, you know what? I don't even think you learned anything yet, because you come out here and you shove Tony Schiavone down. Now me, I never shoved him down. I talk so much crap, but I never shoved him down. Now you had an easy way coming into companies, and I had it a hard way. At 16, I had to go across the country and stuff, and learn how to wrestle and all that stuff. You took from what I said in the email, and you pretty much got it way more easier than me and other people did." So yeah, that's what William Regal was saying to MJF. It was just pretty good stuff. It was really good. And William Regal was like, Now, it's a difference when you step in the ring, because when you do something, you can beat the hell out of people then. But outside the ring, you shouldn't. But you put your hands on Tony Schiavone and all that stuff, and why I never did. And just all that stuff. And then he says, the diamond ring, you use it to knock people out, but I use these brass knuckles just to beat the hell out of them in the ring. So yeah, that's what he said. And then he says, how about this? I'll turn my back. And he turns his back. MJF wanted to hit him, but he decides not to. And then Regal turns back around and he goes like, that's what I thought. You still got a lot to learn. So yeah, that's what happened. Pretty good stuff though. Really great segment. So far, best segment on Dynamite in my opinion for tonight. And nothing ain't gonna beat it. I'll just be honest with that. And then backstage we see Renee Young interviewing the Acclaim and Billy Gunn, and you know, they was talking about how they can't use the word scissors and all that stuff now, and that they got a match this Friday on Rampage against Tony Nese and Josh Woods, and it will be titles versus trademarks. So yeah, that match will be happening on Rampage this Friday, so yeah, look out for that. But yeah, up next we're going to be seeing the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion Chris Jericho versus Dalton Castle 1-on-1 for the ROH World Heavyweight Championship. That match will be happening up next. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Until then. So the next thing to happen on AEW Dynamite. Now, before I talk about that match with the world title, we got to talk about a segment. Now we see Renee Paquette interviewing Bryan Danielson and Wheeler Yuta pretty much from earlier today, and Bryan Danielson was talking about Daniel Garcia, about what he did last week, but he still thinks he'll be a great wrestler and all that. And Wheeler Yuta pretty much got pissed off about what Bryan Danielson has been saying, and he says that him and Claudio could see what Daniel Garcia was planning to do from a long ways away, and he says that he should have never looked up to Bryan Danielson. So yeah, that's what he said, and he walks away. But then we get to the next match. It was the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion Chris Jericho versus Dalton Castle 1-on-1 for the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship. It was a pretty good match and all that stuff. At one point, we see Dalton Castle actually put his hands in his pants and just flick Jericho off and stuff. So yeah, that actually happened. And then, like, Dalton Castle was going to pick up the win when he picked up Jericho for like the Alabama Slam, pretty much spun him around into his finisher move, which I forgot what they call it, but yeah, he hit it on Jericho, pins him, but Jericho barely kicking out too, and then him and Dalton Castle was going at it for a little bit more, Castle laying in some forearms and stuff up until Jericho hits the Judas effect onto him and then pins him for the 3 count. So yeah, Chris Jericho defeated Dalton Castle and has retained the ROH World Heavyweight Championship. That's what happened. Pretty good match, like I said. For that match, I'll give it 3 stars. That's what I'll give it. But then, after the match ended, we see Chris Jericho walking away, and Jake Hager was at ringside for that match as well. I forgot to mention. But yeah, Jericho's walking away, and then up on the stage, we see the rest of the Jericho Appreciation Society come out celebrating with Jericho. But then Jericho grabs the mic and he says, I've been taking out ring announcers and ROH ring announcers, ROH former world champions and stuff, and now it's time for the commentators. So yeah, he grabs one of the ROH commentators. They had him down. He was about to hit him with the title, but then Jerry Lynn comes out, grabbing the title from him, and then telling Jericho what the hell is he doing. Jericho kicks him in the stomach, lifts him up, and hits a tombstone power driver onto Jerry Lynn, onto the title, laying him out. So yeah, that's what happened. Pretty good stuff though. But yeah, still to come later on tonight on AEW, it will be the AEW World Heavyweight Champion Jon Moxley versus Adam Page for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship in the main event. So yeah, see you guys later. Until then. So the next thing to happen on AEW Dynamite, we get the main event, and yeah, there was some serious stuff that happened and all that, which I'll get down into in a second. But there was one segment backstage, and we see Renee Paquette interviewing the baddies and stuff, and we see Jay Cargill coming up talking about, have y'all got my TBS Women's Championship away from Nyla Rose? And they said no, but we've been working on it and stuff. And then she said, screw that, on Rampage I am going to hold the show hostage until I get my title back. Listen up, Tony Khan. So yeah, that's what Jay Cargill said. But then we get to the main event, It was the AEW World Heavyweight Champion Jon Moxley versus Hangman Adam Page for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship in the main event for tonight. And it was a really good match. It was going back and forth and everything. Now, Jon Moxley was making his entrance and both of them was brawling in the crowd. At one point, we see Adam Page hit a moonsault off one of those platforms and stuff on Jon Moxley and stuff. And like I said, it was going back and forth. Moxley was busted open in this match, and it was just a hard-hitting match. Literally, I'll get to that point. But yeah, it was just hard-hitting and everything. At one point, we see Adam Page hit his finisher move, one of his finisher moves, Deadeye, onto Jon Moxley on the ring apron at one point, which looked pretty cool and stuff. But then we get to the ending of this match. Both of them's going at it. Page goes to the corner, he runs back, and then Moxley hits him with a vicious clothesline, a vicious one. Page smacks the mat pretty hard, and he was knocked out. So yeah, the referee Paul Turner was checking on Page, and he pretty much calls off the match. So yeah, Jon Moxley defeated Adam Page pretty much by knockout and has retained the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. They had the ringside doctor and stuff checking on Page, and it was just a bad situation. Hopefully he'll be okay. But yeah, he probably got a concussion or something like that, but definitely hope that Page will be okay. But yeah, it was just it wasn't Moxley's fault or anything. It was just one of those hard-hitting matches and stuff happens, you know. But yeah, it was just an unfortunate circumstance. But yeah, hopefully Adam Page will be okay. Prayers to him. But yeah, they put him on the gurney and stuff and made sure he got carried out. But yeah, that's what happened there. William Regal was on commentary for this match. And then, you know, they still had some TV time because the match was supposed to go a little bit longer. But obviously of what happened, you know, now they still got like about, 10 minutes of TV time. So yeah, while that was happening, Jon Moxley was in the ring. He grabs the mic and he says that he hopes and prays that Hangman Adam Page will get better and stuff. Really good for Mox. And then pretty much he starts calling out MJF, calling him a piece of shit and all that stuff. And then we see William Regal come walking down, and you know, he shakes Moxley's hand. This is after the match, by the way, before he's cut the promo. So yeah, just a reminder, William Regal was already down there at ringside. But yeah, then MJF comes out. He got the chip. He got the referee. He comes walking down, and it looks like we're going to get the world title match. It looks like MJF was going to cash in that poker chip to take on Jon Moxley for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. But then all of a sudden, right when that match was about to start, MJF grabs the chip, hands it over to William Regal. He runs up the ramp, and then he grabs a mic from the announce table, and he says, "Listen here, Mox." And he's talking to him, and then he's talking to William Regal as well. And he says that he's a man, and he's going to prove that he's a man, because for the first time ever, he would not take a shortcut or anything. He'll go at full gear and take on Jon Moxley for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. That's when he's cashing in the poker chip. So yeah, that's what MJF said. So yeah, at full gear, it will be the AEW World Heavyweight Champion Jon Moxley versus MJF for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. That match has now been set for full gear, November 19th, I think they said. I think it's on a Saturday or something, so yeah. But yeah, pretty good stuff. The match was really good, like I said, up until, obviously, of what happened at the end. So yeah, for that match, I'll give it 3.5 stars. That's what I'll give it. For match of the night, I would say it was that 6-man tag team match from earlier tonight, which was really good. The trios match. The women's match was pretty good. And Jericho versus Dalton Castle was okay. Segment of the night, easily MJF and William Regal. Now, that segment was really good. Check it out if you haven't yet. But yeah, for tonight's AEW Dynamite, I'll give it 8 in that. I'll give it 8 stars. That's why I'll give it. It was a pretty good episode. But yeah, like I said, it was unfortunate of what happened to Adam Page, and I pray for him and everything. Hopefully he'll get better and all that stuff. So yeah. But yeah, like, subscribe to Team W Wrestling on YouTube, subscribe to my other channel, Word of Chris, and subscribe to this channel, Chris Vales, and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and both of my TikToks. That will be down there in the description box. And I'll see you guys later for this Friday's Friday Night SmackDown. See you guys later. Until then.